The Department of Atomic Energy was established in A. 1950, B. 1956, C. 1964, D. 1970. Answer, B. 1956. The dance performed by women to invoke rain in Bihar is A. Jata Jaden, B. Bihu, C. Purbi, D. Faguna or Fog. Answer, A. Jata Jaden. The Chief of the Army Staff is assisted by A. Vice Chief of the Army Staff, B. Principal Staff Officers such as Deputy Chief, Adjutant General, Military Secretary, C. Both and B. D. None of the above. Answer, C. Both and B. The General Assembly meets every year in regular sessions which begin on A. First Monday in March every year, B. Fourth Monday in September every year, C. Third Tuesday in September every year, D. Second Tuesday in March every year. Answer, C. Third Tuesday in September every year. The first man-made satellite, Sputnik I, was launched by the former USSR in A. 1955, B. 1957, C. 1967, D. 1970. Answer, B. 1957. The credit of inventing the television goes to A. Edison, B. Baird, C. Faraday, D. Marconi. Answer, B. Baird. The control command of Army is located at A. Mho, B. Udaipur, C. Lucknow, D. Kanpur. Answer, C. Lucknow. The fighter force of Air Force is comprised of A. MiG-21 variant, B. MiG-23 seconds, MiG-25 seconds, MiG-27 seconds, MiG-29 seconds, C. Jaguars, D. All of the above. Answer, D. All of the above. The General Assembly meets regularly A. Once a month, B. Once a year, C. Twice a year, D. After every 3 months. Answer, B. Once a year. The first meeting of the SAARC was opened in A. Jakarta, Indonesia, B. Delhi, India, C. Dhaka, Bangladesh, D. Islamabad, Pakistan. Answer, C. Dhaka, Bangladesh. The first Afro-Asian Games were held in A. Cairo, B. Sydney, C. Hyderabad, D. Kuala Lumpur. Answer, C. Hyderabad. The first historical mention of the holding of the ancient Olympic Games occurred about A. 2,000 years ago, B. 2,200 years ago, C. 2,400 years ago, D. 2,775 years ago. Answer, D. 2,775 years ago. The founder member of FDR. A. Austria, Denmark, Norway, B. Portugal, Sweden, Switzerland, C. UK, Austria, Sweden, D. All of the above. Answer, D. All of the above. The first rice straw power plant has been set up at A. Kolkata, B. Jalkari, Punjab, C. Trombay, Maharashtra, D. None of the above. Answer, B. Jalkari, Punjab. The first meeting of the UN General Assembly was held in which of the following cities? A. London, B. New York, C. Tehran, D. San Francisco. Answer, A. London. World's busiest airports by passenger traffic is A. Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, USA, B. Lhasa Airport, Tibet, C. King Abdulaziz International Airport, Saudi Arabia, D. Chicago O'Hare International Airport, USA. Answer, A. Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, USA. The chief purpose of crop rotation is to check the loss of topsoil. A. By weathering, B. By wind erosion, C. By water erosion, D. Of its mineral content. Answer, D. Of its mineral content. The Enron project is A. Atomic power project, B. Hydroelectric project, C. Thermal power project, D. Gas-fired power project. Answer, D. Gas-fired power project. The first development flight of SLV-3 took place on A. May 31st, 1981. B. April 17th, 1983. C. December 28th, 1995. D. December 21st, 1999. Answer: A. May 31st, 1981. The countries that had maintained research stations in Antarctica under Antarctic trade are A. Chile, France and Japan. B. Argentina, Australia, Belgium and South Africa. C. New Zealand, Norway, the former USSR, the UK and the USA. D. All of the above. Answer: D. All of the above. The chief constituent of Gabar gas is A. Ethane. B. Methane. C. Hydrogen. D. Carbon dioxide. Answer: B. Methane. Rana Pratap Sagar Rajasthan is famous for A. Nuclear power station. B. Brassware. C. Aluminum industry. D. Ports goods. Answer: A. Nuclear power station. Primary rainbow is formed when light suffers A. 2 internal refractions before emerging out of the drop. B. 1 internal refractions before emerging out of the drop. C. No internal refraction. D. Either 1 or 2 internal refractions before emerging out of the drop. Answer: B. 1 internal refractions before emerging out of the drop. Pakistan left the Commonwealth in 1972, but rejoined as 49th member of the Commonwealth in A. 1989. B. 1991. C. 1996. D. 2000. Answer: A. 1989. Rare earth factory is situated in A. Alappuzha, Kerala. B. Alway, Kerala. C. Avadi, Tamil Nadu. D. Ambernath, Maharashtra. Answer: B. Alway. Rohinton Beria Trophy is associated with A. Football. B. Hockey. C. Cricket intra-university. D. Intra-university sports and athletics. Answer: C. Cricket intra-university. The Africa Fund under India's leadership was instituted by A. UNO. B. NAM. C. SAARC. D. The Commonwealth. Answer: B. NAM. Superconductivity is a phenomenon in which the resistance of a substance A. increases with temperature. B. decreases with temperature. C. does not change with temperature. D. becomes zero at very low temperature. Answer: D. becomes zero at very low temperature. Penicillin was invented by A. Fleming. B. Paul Ehrlich. C. Gregory Mendel. D. Dr. Jonas Isaac. Answer: A. Fleming. The 2005 Australian Open Tennis Championship titles for men's and women's singles were won, respectively, by A. Pete Sampras and Steffi Graf. B. Rafael Nadal and Venus Williams. C. Marat Safin and Serena Williams. D. Andre Agassi and Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. Answer: C. Marat Safin and Serena Williams. Study of earthquakes is known as A. Ecology. B. Seismology. C. Numismatics. D. None of the above. Answer: B. Seismology. Reproductive cells in human beings are produced A. in greater numbers for a longer period of time in the male. B. in equal number in both sexes. C. for a longer period in the female than in male. D. in greater numbers by the female than by the male. Answer: A. in greater numbers for a longer period of time in the male. The ancient Olympics games came to a sudden end when the Roman Emperor Theodosius banned them as paper manifestations. The modern Olympic Games were received after a lapse of nearly A. 10 centuries. B. 12 centuries. C. 15 centuries. D. 18 centuries. Answer: C. 15 centuries. Pressure cooker cooks rice faster because A. it always lets the steam escape. B. high pressure crushes the hard covering of rice grains. C. it does not let the heat energy escape easily. D. high pressure raises the boiling point of water. Answer: D. high pressure raises the boiling point of water. Photophobia is A. the ability to perceive light. B. abnormal intolerance of light. C. the adjustment of the eye for light. D. a disease caused by too much sunlight. Answer: B. Abnormal intolerance of light. E. Tiasha, who came close to bagging a bronze, finished fourth at the 1984 Olympics. A. 400 meters final. B. 800 meters final. C. 400 meters hurdle. D. The marathon. Answer: C. 400 meters hurdle. The red triangle symbol denotes A. Air India. B. Family planning. C. Culture and civilization. D. None of the above. Answer: B. Family planning. The agreement according to which the UK, the USA and the former USSR cannot assist other countries in acquiring technology to develop nuclear weapons is known as A. Izmir Treaty. B. Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. C. Both and D. None of the above. Answer: B. Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Satyajit Ray received Magsaysay Award for Journalism, Literature and Creative Communication Arts in A. 1963, B. 1965, C. 1966, D. 1967. Answer: D. 1967. Robert Koch worked on A. Diabetes, B. Malaria, C. Cholera, D. Tuberculosis. Answer: D. Tuberculosis. Oscar awards are conferred annually by A. Government of United States, B. Hollywood Foreign Press Association, C. Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences, USA. D. None of the above. Answer: C. Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences, USA. Raj Kapoor received Dadasaheb Phalke Award in A. 1986, B. 1987, C. 1988, D. 1989. Answer: B. 1987. Rabindranath Tagore is also known as A. Netaji, B. Guruji, C. Gurudev, D. Mahamana. Answer: C. Gurudev. Ornithology is the A. Study of smells, B. Study of birds, C. Study of bones, D. None of the above. Answer: B. Study of birds. Tansen was A. Great exponent of Indian classical music, B. One of the 9 gems in the court of Akbar, C. Both and B, D. None of the above. Answer: C. Both and B. The 2003 Right Livelihood Honorary Award honors when the jury recognizes for his steadfast work over many years for a world free of nuclear weapons A. New Zealand's former Prime Minister David Lang, B. Martin Green Australia, C. Martin Almada Australia, D. None of the above. Answer: A. New Zealand's former Prime Minister David Lang. Steel is more elastic than rubber because A. It is a metal, B. Its density is high, C. Ratio of stress to strain is more, D. Ratio of stress to strain is less. Answer: C. Ratio of stress to strain is more. Presently known as the European Union, the EEC was established in A. 1957, B. 1958, C. 1959, D. 1960. Answer: B. 1958. Rise of the Chinese civilization along the banks of Huanghe took place in A. 2500-2000 BC, B. 2700-2600 BC, C. 2205-1122 BC, D. 2100 BC. Answer: C. 2205-1122 BC. Oxygen was independently discovered by A. Niels Bohr, B. William Ramsay, C. Joseph Priestley, D. Rutherford. Answer: C. Joseph Priestley. Sulfur is not present in A. Coal, B. Gypsum, C. Iron pyrites, D. Chlorapatite. Answer: D. Chlorapatite. People who secretly indulge in anti-national or anti-government activities and help the enemy are called A. Second column, B. Third column, C. Fourth column, D. Fifth column. Answer: D. Fifth column. Rabindranath Tagore received Nobel Prize in 1913 in the field of A. Peace, B. Literature, C. Physics, D. Economy. Answer B. Literature. South Africa joined the Commonwealth as 51st member in A. May 1993, B. May 1994, C. May 1995, D. May 1996. Answer B. May 1994. South Indian temples have A. Tall towers with curving sides that taper at the top, B. Gateway towers shaped like trapezoidal pyramids, C. Both and B. None of the above. Answer C. Both and B. Raja Mohan Roy. A. was the founder of the Brahmo Samaj. B. advocated widow remarriage and women's education. C. was a social reformer who tried to eradicate sati, purity and child marriage. D. All of the above. Answer D. All of the above. Rajiv Gandhi, Prime Minister of India, was assassinated in A. 1961, B. 1971, C. 1981, D. 1991. Answer D. 1991. Florence is the associated place for which of the following sport? A. Skiing, B. Tennis, C. Snooker, D. Racking horse. Answer A. Skiing. Profit made when an asset is sold more than the price at which it was bought is called A. Capital, B. Capital gain, C. Capitalism, D. None of the above. Answer B. Capital gain. The 2002 Commonwealth Games were held in A. UK, B. Canada, C. Malaysia, D. Australia. Answer A. UK. Radioactive substances can be produced readily in A. transistor, B. an atomic pile, C. an electron gun, D. a Wilson cloud chamber. Answer B. an atomic pile. Regular meetings of trusteeship council are held in A. once a year, B. twice a year, C. thrice a year, D. 4 times a year. Answer B. twice a year. The American general who led the revolt against the British and declared American independence was A. George Washington, B. George Bush, C. Bill Clinton, D. None of the above. Answer A. George Washington. Oxford University was founded in A. 1139 AD, B. 1163 AD, C. 215 BC, D. 55 BC. Answer B. 1163 AD. The air we inhale is mixture of gases. Which of the following gases in the mixture is highest in percentage? A. Ozone, B. Oxygen, C. Nitrogen, D. Carbon dioxide. Answer C. Nitrogen. Soil is formed from the parent rock material by A. Chemical decomposition, B. Physical decomposition, C. Biological decomposition, D. All of the above. Answer D. All of the above. Sonia Nazario of Los Angeles Times was awarded Pulitzer Prize in 2003 for A. Music, B. Editorial writing, C. Commentary, D. Feature writing. Answer D. Feature writing. Sir Humphrey Davy was a British chemist who A. invented the safety lamp for miners, B. discovered the anesthetic properties of nitrous oxide, C. both and B. None of the above. Answer C. both and B. Paleontology is a branch of science that deals with the A. behavior of animals, B. formation of new stars, C. origin and growth of plants, D. forms of life as revealed by fossils of animals or plants. Answer D. Forms of life as revealed by fossils of animals or plants. Prince Charles and Princess Diana of Britain announced their separation in A. 1990, B. 1991, C. 1996, D. 1997. Answer C. 1996. Richter scale is used for measuring A. density of liquid, B. humidity of air, C. velocity of wind, D. intensity of earthquakes. Answer D. intensity of earthquakes. Socrates was the wisest man of the ancient world and developed the method of inquiry and instruction. Belonged to A. Greece, B. Athens, C. France, D. China. Answer, B. Athens. Penicillin is widely used as A. An antiseptic, B. An insecticide, C. An antibiotic, D. A disinfectant. Answer, C. An antibiotic. Sculpture flourished during A. Chinese civilization, B. Indus Valley civilization, C. Egyptian civilization, D. None of the above. Answer, B. Indus Valley civilization. Shankaracharya was the founder of A. Jainism, B. Buddhism, C. Arya Samaj, D. Advaitic philosophy. Answer, D. Advaitic philosophy. Shares with a fixed rate of dividend that entitle their holders to priority payment over those who hold ordinary shares of a company are called A. Bear, B. Bull, C. Shareholder, D. Preference shares. Answer, D. Preference shares. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is a well-known freedom fighter of A. Bangladesh, B. Pakistan, C. Indonesia, D. Afghanistan. Answer, A. Bangladesh. The 2005 Wimbledon women's singles champion defeated which of the following to win the title? A. Mary Pierce, B. Lindsay Davenport, C. Maria Sharapova, D. Serena Williams. Answer, B. Lindsay Davenport. Taoism is followed in A. Japan, B. Iran and Northwest India, C. China, Taiwan, Nauru, Brunei, Singapore and Vietnam, D. Worldwide. Answer, C. China, Taiwan, Nauru, Brunei, Singapore and Vietnam. Queensland and Northern Territory Aerial Service is an international airline of A. Belgium, B. Afghanistan, C. Australia, D. East Africa. Answer, C. Australia. Small amounts of iodine are necessary in our diet to A. Prevent pellagra, B. Stimulate pituitary gland, C. Stimulate clotting of blood, D. Compensate for underactive the thyroid gland. Answer, D. Compensate for underactive the thyroid gland. Oscar Awards were instituted in A. 1960, B. 1929, C. 1903, D. 1964. Answer, B. 1929. Soil acidity is generally corrected by A. Liming, B. Proper irrigation, C. Application of fertilizers, D. Adding sodium hydroxide. Answer, A. Liming. Pythagoras was first to the universal validity of geometrical theorem. A. Give, B. Both, C. Prove, D. None of the above. Answer, C. Prove. Sir Thomas Fernley Cup is awarded to A. Amateur athlete, not necessarily an Olympian, B. National Olympic Committee for outstanding work, C. A club or a local sport association for remarkable achievements, D. None of the above. Answer, C. A club or a local sport association for remarkable achievements. Recession is A. Slowing down of economic activity over a limited period, B. Period that results from accumulation of unsold goods, owing to fall in demand, C. Period during which unemployment may rise and demand and output may fall, leading to slump in trade, D. All of the above. Answer, D. All of the above. Study of life in outer space is known as A. In biology, B. Exobiology, C. Neobiology, D. Enterobiology. Answer, B. Exobiology. Republican Party is A. One of the important parties in USA, B. The political parties which has no definite principles, C. The political party which changes with the change in the times and circumstances in the country, D. All of the above. Answer, D. All of the above. The black flag signifies A. Truce, B. Peace, C. Protest, D. Revolution danger. Answer, C. Protest. Satellite launching station is located at A. Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh, B. Salem, Tamil Nadu, C. Solapur, Maharashtra, D. Warangal, Andhra Pradesh. Answer, A. Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh. The 2006 World Cup football tournament held in A. China, B. France, C. Brazil, D. Germany. Answer D. Germany. Philology is the A. Study of bones, B. Study of muscles, C. Study of architecture, D. Science of languages. Answer D. Science of languages. Squadron leader Rakesh Sharma was India's first man to go into space. He was cosmonaut to be in space in the world. A. 12th, B. 107th, C. 139th, D. 151st. Answer C. 139th. In UNO, the new members are admitted to the General Assembly on the recommendation of, and the members of the General Assembly should vote in favor. A. Security Council, 1/3. B. Security Council, 2/3. C. International Court of Justice, 1/3. D. International Court of Justice, 2/3. Answer B. Security Council, 2/3. In 1947, Algeria became politically unified with France, but the 80% population revolted against French domination. A. Hindu, B. Muslim, C. Christian, D. Jain. Answer B. Muslim. In which year during World War I, USA declared war on Germany, Britain defeated Turkey and captured Baghdad and Jerusalem? A. 1917, B. 1918, C. 1919, D. 1920. Answer A. 1917. In which of the following team events India got a gold medal at the 2002 Asian Games? A. Kabaddi, B. Hockey, C. 4x 200 meters relay, D. 4x 100 meters relay. Answer A. Kabaddi. In big cities like Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, Chennai, police is headed by A. Commissioner of Police, B. Inspector General of Police, C. Deputy Inspector General of Police, D. None of the above. Answer A. Commissioner of Police. How many dimes are there in 1 gram weight? A. 250, B. 375, C. 981, D. 900. Answer C. 981. In Air Force, Air Commodore has 1 rank higher than A. Air Vice Marshal, B. Air Marshal, C. Group Captain, D. Squadron Leader. Answer C. Group Captain. Thank you.